What's going on, YouTube? Thank you very much for tuning into my channel. Today we're going to be following myself in the Phoenix City Am. We're at Grand Canyon University Golf Course, and we're going to be following my tournament round here. I know that a lot of you down the lens like to watch me actually play golf, and I was able to get some rounds recorded during a tournament, which is a little bit difficult, but we're going to be following the Tiger 5 throughout this round and just kind of highlighting some of the areas I think I could improve. Starting off, we got a 454-yard par 4. And I'm obviously going to take driver off the tee, aim it up the left, and try to get it back to the center of the fairway. Put a really good start and swing on this one. Obviously, first tee jitters is a thing, but did a pretty good job here just launching this ball right down the center. And then coming up here, we got about 133 yards left into a flag. That's going to be on that front left edge. I went with pitch and wedge here just because there's a little bit of wind coming off of the street.
Thank you.
Hit a pretty good shot, hit it about 16, 17 feet above the hole, and just got a little bit of a downhill putt. Let's see how this one works out for me. Not too shabby, trickle it up there. A little two-putt par to start off the round. Really good way to get things rolling.
Thank you.
Up next, we have a 175-yard par 3. I went with 7-iron just because, again, there was a little bit of wind coming in off of the road. And as I'm looking at this video, still not certain what happened. Put a good swing on it. And this 7-iron just carried a lot longer than I thought it was going to go. It ended up going over the back edge of the green and carried about 180-some-odd yards.
Oh.
I opted for a putter off the fringe here, and I just didn't read this break at all. I hit it at what I thought was a pretty good speed, and it just ended up really, really short below the hole. And then obviously I've got a nice little 6-7 footer here, which I hit with a really good pace, just didn't quite take the line, and unfortunately this is a drop shot here on the second hole starting the day. Up next, we've got ourselves a 517-yard par 5. Hit a little bit of a wipey fade here and obviously get it into the center of the fairway. Nothing too exciting to write home about on this particular drive. And then as we get up here, I've got a nice little layup with a 6-iron. Again, wiped this one out just a little bit to the right. Ended up catching some rough. Not a bad contact, but would have liked to have this shot a little bit left and catch some fairway instead of the rough stuff. This is an absolutely abysmal wedge shot. It rides up the face, catch it heavy, just not quite focused here, not really hitting a very good or committed shot on this particular wedge. And as you can see, a little bit of frustration
What in the
on my
world
face.
was that?
But I was obviously fortunate enough to hit a really good wedge here just beneath the hole. Got it inside about, what, maybe a foot there for a nice little kick in, up and down par on the 5. Got a 334-yard par 4 here, and I just hit an absolute wipey slice shot on this one. So just struggling through some swing things going on in this round. Catch this one a little bit thin and heavy and just pull it straight left off of this down slope and send this one straight left into a bunker. Not an ideal place to be. Hit a pretty routine bunker shot here. I didn't have a lot of green to work with, but got it out and just let it trickle down. Had myself about a, 20-foot putt here and just rolled it up to the hole to go ahead and tap this one in for a bogey out of this bunker. This next hole is position golf. Took a 4-iron and hit it out just short of these bunkers, about 220, 225 yards out to the right of the fairway. Had a $155 in on the next shot. I took an 8-iron and just caught it a little heely and ended up just slicing it right. Ended up shorting into a bunker. Not an ideal place to be. It was a pretty bad downslope with the green running away from me. Took a 60-degree and just tried to do the best that I could. Got it out and obviously got it onto the green. Then from here, I had about a 16-foot putt that was downhill. I thought I hit this pretty well, but ended up just racing past the hole another 4 or 5 feet, almost 6 feet here at this point. Put a pretty good confident stroke on it, but just didn't quite get the hole, ended up lipping out, and that's just an unfortunate 3-putt situation that I didn't want to have this early in the round. I noticed earlier on the round when I was practicing warming up, I just didn't quite have my swing that day, and I was just wipe cutting a lot of stuff, so I just decided to work with it, aim it left, and find as many fairways as I possibly could. Hit an absolutely fantastic wedge shot here. This thing was pretty much straight up on a piece of string, and ended up getting this thing nice and close to the hole, having myself a good look at birdie. Hit a putt that I thought was going to get there, but just a little bit beneath the hole. But at the end of the day, can't be mad at a simple par. 450 yards here. Ended up just blocking this drive out to the right. Not necessarily a bad miss on this hole because it does kind of open up the green, but I had 180 plus yards in, so I took a 5-iron and tried to get it up there and tried to miss left of the green, which is the opportune miss, but ended up again just wiping this thing right and short. Inside of the bunker, not a lot of room to work with, but I was able to get this thing out. It's on a hole and just kind of running away from me. Hit a pretty solid putt here from, what, maybe 20 feet, 18 feet, and just left it right in the lip of the hole, so not too bad of a bogey given the length of this hole. And on this par 3, there is only one place you cannot hit it, and that is the right side of the green because everything kicks away into the water. And as I look back at this, I was just lying way too far right. Ended up knocking it into the water. I hit a pretty lazy chip here and just didn't quite get it onto the green. Still had a pretty decently long putt up the hill to get it up to the hole, and just a very poor demonstration on how to blow up a really easy par 3. And this is the part that's difficult about tournament golf. I've just made a really bad hole and obviously didn't put a good swing on this one. You can see the frustration there. I did actually get away with this one, but in honesty and hindsight, I was not trying to hit this ball as well as I did get it up there, but it actually worked out. I ended up getting it onto the green off of an extreme downslope and found a way to manage a par out of the situation and almost ended up making a birdie. So every so once in a while, a blind squirrel finds a nut, I guess. Trying to reset here for the back 9. Hit a pretty good shot out here with this driver. Again, just working with this wipe today. Not going to change it, just going to keep aiming with it. I had a pretty long shot in here. I took 5 wood, and I thought I hit this really well, but ended up bleeding just a little bit right behind this bunker, and it took me a bit of time to actually find this shot. It had kicked down almost into another hole. Punched this one just beneath the trees. Thought it was a pretty decent punch. I almost got it onto the green, but just misjudged how much it would release. End up hitting a pretty good wedge shot here, or a pretty good chip shot onto the green. Just played it out to the right to let it release up to the hole. I think I left myself about maybe 5-6 feet, which from this distance of about 20-30 yards isn't too bad. I didn't quite make the putt here, but you know, if I'm gonna hit an approach shot with a 5-wood that bad, I guess a bogey's not the worst thing at the end of the day. Par 3 here was playing about 180 some odd yards. I took 7-iron here and hit a pretty good shot. Just didn't quite get the distance that I wanted out of it, bled it a little bit to the right, so I had a pretty long putt of like 30 feet from right here. And fortunately, I was able to read it pretty decently and get it up there to the hole, and then I kicked it maybe to about, I think it was like 2 or 3 feet, and just a pretty simple tap in. I can tell just by looking at this that my alignment is all kinds of off. My hip lines are pointing right, and I got my face left, so not shocked that I double crossed this here, but again, it's not going to punish me too bad at this course. Had about 150 yards left, hit 9-iron, and man, I pulled the mess out of this shot. Again, not having that alignment very well, hip lines pointing right, and then here I just spin this thing across the green. I'm on full tilt at this point, just not quite focused, not staying present, and again, this is where I lose the most shots overall playing tournament golf. I just get frustrated and don't quite get my head into the game. Tried to hit a putt here that just died out on this extreme lip, and as you can see, I barely touched this thing, and it still rolls another 2-3 feet past the hole. So just making a very big number on this hole when it just really was not necessary with a 9-iron in my hand. Put an absolute beautiful swing on this ball. This was one of my best shots of the round. Sent it right over the flag. Had a little bit too much club, but I wanted to cover the water just to be sure. But I put myself about 25 feet behind the hole with a pretty severe downsloping green. Didn't quite give this putt the love that it needed to, and ended up leaving it about 5 foot short, and just unfortunately did not convert that second putt and ended up with a 3-putt here. Alignment not in order, and of course again I double crossed this shot just like I did on the previous hole with the driver. Fortunately, again, it's not going to punish me too much. I think I had about 9 or 8 iron out of this rough area over here. Put a really good strike on the ball and ended up getting it, you know, about 20 or 30 feet high of the flag. But this flag was in a very extreme position. I putted this down the slope and it pretty much came off of the green at this point. So I had another 12, 13 feet coming back up the hill. Didn't convert that, and yet again another 3-putt on the card that I'm just not excited to see. Got up here with the 5-wood, absolutely roasted this one. I tend to hit my 5-wood and my 3-wood pretty well. Put this one dead center of the fairway.
Dead up center.
Good to get some momentum moving right back in the right direction. I had a wedge here that I just, again, threw right over the flag stick, but I think I hit a 60 and it just zipped back about 15, 20 feet and almost came off of the green. I didn't record this putt, but I ended up rolling this thing up the hill and just two-putting for par here.
I threw it right at it and it just zipped.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I thought that thing took a really good look.
I had too much sauce on it.
Had a 3-wood into this hole because driver would have been too long, and I just absolutely laced this 3-wood. Probably sent it about 250 yards up here short of the bunkers. Really good shot off of this tee. And then I just absolutely fatted this wedge coming up into the green. After all that hard work to get it into a good position, left it really short of the green, but I was able to chip this thing here, and I thought I read this well, and it just kicked really hard right. Left me about 9 feet, didn't make the putt, so I made a bogey here.
Oh, good strike, but man, that's that.
Company.
Left of the left. Get long.
Got the face all squared up where my lines were pointing, so I ended up pulling this one left into the pine straw. Probably should not have tried a full iron out of this because clearly I slipped. Fortunately, I was able to hit a pretty good recovery shot up to the back left side of the green.
Sit.
And finally, I get one putt to drop, a really bad sloping left to right from about 8 feet. Give it a little fist pump. I thought this was pretty funny. I mean, I don't top drivers really often, but I guess when it happens, all you can do is laugh at it. Had a 5-wood that I hit absolutely beautiful out of this, dusty old area just to kind of get myself back into a good recovery position and absolutely smoked it. As we get up here, I think I had another 130 yards in to hit this thing on the green and 3. Hit a really good shot, just leaked it out to the right. Probably left myself about a good 30, maybe 40 feet of putt. This putt is going to be sloping severe right to left. I tried to give it a pretty good read and a good pace, but ended up just leaving it a little bit below the hole. And as I have about maybe 4.5 feet here for a comeback, I swore it was going to break right to left. It did not. Stayed out on the right edge. And clearly I was very frustrated because that putt did not turn at all. And even as I'm looking at this video, I swear that putt should have broken right to left, but it didn't. It stayed out. It is what it is. Finishing the round with a 3-putt, obviously not the way you want to go out. And there you have it. I finished the round off with a 35, and as we can see from our Tiger 5, a lot of shots lost out there simply just from 3 putts and making bogeys from 150 yards and in. I definitely recommend using the Tiger 5 stats. You'll find that these are some of the most important things when you're playing a golf round to really dive into your stats and get an understanding of where you're losing a lot of shots. That's all I got for you. Thank you very much for watching my YouTube channel. Deuces, people. Let's keep it moving.